We've made it to the end of the honeymoon and no one has copulated.
Oh, good job.
What?
You just be using words I be using.
I've never heard you use
You've never heard me say copulate.
I've never heard you use that word.
Where you get copulate from?
I read.
I believe you, babe.
My wife thinks because she's smart, she's the only smart one.
You know what it.
Like you should, and she's brilliant, but she's like can't believe that I'm also smart.
Well, hello, my loves. Welcome back to our channel. I am your girl, Zar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joseph Conner.
Hey.
We're the Conners. We're Joe and Zar, and we are back talking all things Married at First Sight. Okay, so if you're new here, do us all a favor because it doesn't cost you a thing. Bust in, subscribe to our channel. Thank you everybody who's coming over from our TikTok to say hi and see us. And if you're not following us on TikTok, we're at Joe and Zar on TikTok as well. Make sure you guys hit us up and just say that you know you're stopping by and let us know. So I guess we're here to dig on into Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 16.
I don't know. I lost track like 3 weeks ago.
I mean, episode 6. Episode 6, I think it is. I think it's episode 6. Episode 6 or 7. So they just left. They're leaving the honeymoon. But before they do, Clint apologizes to Gina publicly. You know, so let me say this. Do I believe that Clint should have... So let me say this. Let me go back. We just had a therapy session, okay? So this is just like real transparent and things we be talking about and stuff like that. So like, you know, I don't want y'all to think that we sit up here in judgment of people. Like we are working on our relationship every day and trying to show up and be better for each other as well every day too. You know what I mean? So when we talk about like having a stomach for it and things like that, it's like we have made a decision to be with one another. Neil just doing the work to continue that. It's just, that's how we pour in. And therapy is one of those things that we do. So last week in therapy, we spoke about Joe mentioned being happy, not always being right. And not needing to be right, but wanting what's more important is being happy, right? And don't you think that's what Clint is trying to do here?
I think from his perspective, yes. From the outward looking in, I think this was just him caving to this groupthink, this gang session that they had on him in the last episode that we saw, where she tried to make her problem everybody else's problem, and then everybody else...
I think they made the problem everybody else's problem.
No, she invited it in.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
She opened the door and they could gladly walk through it.
Right.
And I think shout out to Twitter, because a lot of Twitter people picked up on this. It seems like more so than any other platform, where they were like, yo, like this groupthink, like gang... This gang thing that they got going on is crazy, because it was a lot of people from both, I mean, men and women. This was almost like the most equally unified I've seen the fans from watching perspective be in this type of thing, where she tried to make it this like misogynistic thing that that Clint said, and everybody else was just kind of like, no, that's not what happened. It wasn't like Clint came out and started bashing you over head and telling you was fat and ugly. You opened the door twice to this conversation. And then they pointed out that everybody sitting around at the time that they had this conversation spoke their piece on how they felt about attractiveness and their the opposite, what their attractiveness, what their type is or whatever of the opposite sex.
And we didn't go in on them.
No one caught it like Clint did. So that's why I rolled my eyes when we opened up and we talked about Clint apologizing, because I thought of all of that. Like, it was just, from a Clint perspective, absolutely, like, you got to do what you got to do for your marriage. Yeah. And that's Clint choosing to be happy rather than choosing to be right. But from a worldly standpoint, it was BS.
I'm really, it said a lot to me that he decided that he was going to apologize. I felt like,
I feel like he was bullied into it, though. I don't even want to, all due respect to Clint, I'm not even giving him that.
Because you don't even think he really wanted to.
No, I feel like he was bullied into it. Bullied into it from his wife and from the group.
And the truth of the matter is, sometimes it's like that from your wife. Sometimes it's like that from your spouse, where you just got to be like, you know what? We're not going to get past this unless I apologize.
Which I'm fine with him doing. That's just maturity. Yeah. But I think the bigger story is that the group bullied him. You know what I mean?
What I didn't like, though, talking about bullying, I don't like how Nicole kind of was like, it was just very disgusting what he said. And I think I said something. And
so what was what you said? That's my question for her.
Not Nicole. No, not the wife. The other girl, Nicole, that's with Chris.
Oh, Chris.
Chris' wife. She said that it was disgusting.
Right. But so my question remains, what Gina said?
Right.
You know what I mean?
But and they don't even have that perspective, nor do they care to have that perspective, I feel like. And it's like, but I still thought they took it too far. Like, first of all, it's clear that Clint says whatever he wants to out his mouth, so we're not going to cape too hard.
Yeah, Clint definitely has to work on that. But he also admitted that to himself.
Right. That he could do a little bit too much. You know what I mean? So I do applaud them for pointing that out. But I didn't like the way Nicole kind of was like, it was disgusting. As a group, we're going to forgive you on behalf of Gina.
It was too much. It was everybody got it was everybody at the table saying something. It was
Kirsten.
I mean,
what she say? All wrong and loud.
Yeah, you was coming in all loud and strong and wrong and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Like,
but let me tell you what was the piece de resistance for me. When Clint said, everybody over here got all this to say, we're all going to have a moment like this.
That part.
You have to humble people. Yeah. The thing about this new generation, and I think not even new generation of people, daters, people in relationships, everybody is, people on social media. I've never seen a more evolved group of human beings.
Oh, me either.
On Earth.
Me either.
I've never seen a more evolved group of people who don't have free health care, who don't have universal education, who don't have but y'all so goddamn evolved.
So self-righteous.
Y'all are so self-righteous. Oh, we could never, it would never be like that. It is the most amazing thing to me.
To the point where no one who's ever made a transgression in their life is allowed to do anything else.
Like, I just don't understand it. Like, one, what we're not talking about is that we are in a vacuum. We're watching these people in an actual vacuum. So when we say, like, when we were watching previous seasons and people weren't showing up as their best selves, I understand that, because there are times where Joe and I are going through changes, whether or not it's moving into a new home. I can literally time our big arguments to changes in our either relationship, our life, whatever the case may be, whether we moved, whether we were deciding to get married, whatever. You have these feelings that causes you as a human being individually to show up in a way that you weren't before. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you're fighting against yourself in outside entities, and the person closest to you gets the brunt of that. Yeah. The way that people act like that's not a thing.
Yeah, it's scary.
It is scary. Like, y'all don't argue?
No. They don't argue. Y'all have never dealt with anybody who's had a bad moment or a low moment in life. It's just like all of this self-righteous babble that spews out online. It's really disgusting. But I'm so glad that people are, especially within the the viewership of this show, it seems
Yeah.
like they're conscious of that. And when I check the comments and I check a lot of the, when we're live tweeting and talking during the show, and you check the hashtag, people are recognizing this stuff. Like, this is the insanity, that the things that they're making up about their spot, Dominique and all of this. Like, people are noticing that stuff.
So we talked about Clint being mature. Let's talk about them rating their relationships. Which, okay, so I was really sitting here thinking about this.
Speaking of mature,
I am old enough to remember a time. I don't know if you remember this. There was a time where they used to put our grades outside of the door.
I do remember that.
And you would have to walk up and you would have to see.
The big test, too. This wouldn't even be like a,
And you would see where you fall. Now, they don't do that now because kids is sensitive as hell.
Oh,
and now it's like, they did a study and they say it really. They
would stage a walkout.
For real. But at the time, it was meant to provide you an idea of where you are in the landscape of your, courses, and give you motivation to be better. Right?
Yeah.
But what it end up being was this anxious thing where people felt more competitive against each other than they did needing to learn the actual information. That became less important. So they saw it as counterproductive. And I see this as counterproductive.
1,000%.
These people have known each other for 1 week. How could you even I've been in a ton of therapy sessions. Nobody has ever asked me to rate anything 1 to 10.
Never.
Anything.
Especially in a group setting. Because like you said, all you get is people trying to compete with each other.
Right?
Making up numbers.
Making up.
Some of these couples should never.
I would like to be prime 112.
Like, what? I'm a 10. I think that this is a 7.5. What's the fraction?
Like, what is the half?
What are y'all talking about? This is just,
that's real.
And this is stuff that I think I would want more input from the so-called experts. I want them to be a part of it so they can say if this is a production thing, so they can say, let's take that out. Let's not do that. This is counterproductive. This does not help our couples. It starts more arguments than not. And it causes this weird competition thing between a bunch of couples who don't even know each other,
who don't
or
even
their spouses
know each other. And the truth of the matter is as I'm listening to these people give their numbers or whatever the case may be, which was all BS, because again, you don't even know this person, and not even the fact that you don't know them. Rating them in front of other people gives an expectation that you don't want to necessarily give. You don't want to start setting these kind of standards. You're just meeting this person. And for some of them who come from being seriously single, that can sometimes provide like a standard or a bar that people don't want to either live up to or raise, for that matter.
But not only that, these conversations happen when they're like on their honeymoon. What are we rating?
What are we rating?
We've had no life challenges.
Literally.
We haven't experienced anything in the real world together. We've barely met each other's families. What is there to rate? That's the other thing why this is just so silly. Like, you're rating from the time you met at the altar to the end of your honeymoon?
I don't understand it. I don't even understand it, and I think it's unfair to them, if I'm being honest. Like, I really do think it's unfair. And I feel like they should just be able to exist without all these games.
Yeah.
It's turning quite literally into the Suicide Games, or whatever that goddamn show is called.
Oh.
The Asian one.
Yeah. I was about to say the Asian version of the Hunger Games.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really turning into that for me, because it's like, oh, well, we're doing a little bit better, but I don't want to say we're being great because we still have to get to know each other. Huh? And it's like, we know you still have to get to know each other. Like, the whole thing was just annoying.
Very.
And what it really told me was that, one, a lot of y'all are lying with a big L, because the truth of the matter is, if we think about seasons previously, people was hunching by now.
That's another shout
with
out
all
to
due
Twitterverse.
respect.
That's another point that somebody brought up that I saw online. Somebody said this is the first season, and I guess I don't know if it's the first season or the first season in a long time, where we've made it to the end of the honeymoon and no one has copulated.
Oh, good job.
What?
You just be using words I be using.
I've never heard you.
You've never heard me say
on my
copulate.
Pop-Up Grill, I've never heard you use that word.
Where you get copulate from?
I read.
I believe you, babe.
My wife thinks because she's smart, she's the only smart one.
You know what it.
Like you should, and she's brilliant, but she's like can't believe that I'm also smart.
I was about to say I wouldn't go there. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, she like she doesn't.
I do think you're smart. Don't say that.
I agree that my wife is brilliant.
I think you're brilliant.
But sometimes she gets caught off.
I'm
she
more
gets caught
brilliant.
off guard. Yeah, that's what I mean. She gets caught off guard. Like I went to school too.
You did, baby. You right. And it was expensive.
And it was expensive and did well.
The point is that you are brilliant, so I'm not going to take that from you. You're absolutely correct. I didn't mean to say it like that. It caught me off guard.
It always
because
does.
You're not a big synonym person.
No, not in my everyday life, but when I'm writing or when I'm speaking, people come to me and ask me to write stuff. My family is a big Joe needs to write something for us.
Really?
Yeah, but this is not news to you. I don't walk around. We code switch a lot. I don't walk around in my house with my orator voice.
Oh, we do code switch a lot.
We do. I am the family writer.
We do. He does. No, you know what? That's true.
You have to have some intelligence.
That's
to do
true.
That. I just don't. We don't be. We not in the house like.
I'm not litigating your literacy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
But this is why it's not her fault. But it's not her fault because we don't I'm not in the house spitting paragraphs. But I can when I want to write, when I want to orate, I can.
I agree. Orate.
I just don't. I be in the house using all the ebonics. So when I say something intelligent, she's like, "What happened?" I be in here sounding like Lil Uzi Vert.
No, he's intelligent too. But yes, so Twitter was saying that people haven't calculated.
Twitter called it, and they was like, "Yo, this is," and I said, "This is the reason why is because I think that this is one of the poorest paired casts that we've seen in a while," which a lot of people also agree with. I just think this is a
no chemistry at all.
Outside of Chris and Nicole, I think a lot of people see zero chemistry in any of these other couples.
Yeah, it's not even close. I'm not even excited to see them week to week. I feel like even with who was last year? Was it Boston? It was San Diego.
San Diego.
It was San Diego. So even last year, I still kind of felt excited to see. But you know what I'm also seeing, guys? And you tell me if you're noticing this. There is a trend of a lot of Married at First Sight couples getting divorces.
After they've gone through this whole process and went through decision day and everything like that. That's why I also think that when we make these bets, we got to caveat them to
wait, what?
They have to last past decision day X amount of time or something, because it's a lot of people just going to get along on decision day, especially depending on who says what first.
Yes on decision
Absolutely
day.
And we all knew she was BSing. We all knew that. And I think a lot of times it is a direct result of who goes first.
Yes, on
decision day, because I know for example, the couple from last season, I can't remember the girl's name. The white girl with the
Lindy and Miguel? No. Oh, the other one with the bald head bull.
Yeah, the one with the annoying husband.
Kristen. Was her name Kristen?
I think it was Kristen. She was absolutely going to say yes if he said yes, but he said no. And then she immediately had to pivot in a moment. You could see her calibrating.
Yeah.
You can see her trying to figure out what she was going to say in a moment when he said no. And then she totally jumped in with this whole diatribe of,
they need to ask him before.
Absolutely. You got to hold them to it. Because she just went through this whole thing of, I was going to say no too. I think this is best. And he's like, yeah.
That's a very big piece of ice. Why is that piece of ice so big?
Because I'm not going to be able to change it out while we're filming. So.
I know, but it's uncomfortable. Please show the people what I'm talking about.
It's my favorite piece of ice.
Why is it so big?
Because it's for a cocktail glass, and you don't want, especially if it's a good cocktail, you don't want your ice to melt and water down your drink. So that's why they give you these when you go to the bars, the fancy bars and stuff. This is what they give you.
So I took cordyceps and B12, so I'm sharp as hell right now. I don't know if you can tell. Everything is a thing. So I apologize, guys, that kind of caught me off guard. So instead of us kind of talking about each couple because boring, let's talk about these major themes. So another major theme I feel like that happened this episode was Eris saying that he needs alone time. What is your concept of alone time? How do you feel about that?
I respect it. Like if you need alone time, I think that you should do whatever it is outside of your marriage that makes you whole in your marriage, right? And some people are very introverted in that sense.
Yeah.
And so I don't have any problem with it.
See, I feel like what alone time is changes once you're in relationship.
I do too, because I feel like my part of my alone time includes my wife, but that's a me thing. I don't think everybody feels that.
I don't think, I'm starting to realize, even having conversations with other people that we know are married, it is different. Like I'm the girlfriend that has to be reminded, like, you have to pay attention to your girlfriends too. Shout out to Thomasina. I love you. Don't curse me out. Okay? Like, you know what I mean? I love you to death, bitch. But like in real life, I have to be, because I am an extroverted introvert, and my safe space is our love bubble, and then I don't want to leave it. Like, I'm like, the idea of leaving it, I have to get like mentally prepared. Joe knows, like, you're laughing because that's yeah. I'm like doing like mental, like, sit-ups and crunches and stuff like that, because I gotta get my brain right to interact with people. But in real life, or like, you can't say any old thing out your mouth. Don't use the N word. I gotta be like really in my brain, like doing all this, right? So sometimes for me, it's different though, because my husband travels a lot. So because I think you're on the road, I do have the opportunity to have alone time. But I feel like even then, I be having people come like and stay with me. If Joe was going for 3 months, somebody's staying with me for 3 months.
Yeah, but also it depends on what you need for a long time. Like for me, I'm in my office in my own house for a couple hours every day.
Yeah, we're
that's
co-workers.
A long time to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But some people's alone time requires them to literally be out of the house, not in their own office or in their own room or at the gym or whatever. So it's like one of those weird things, to each his own, as long as it works for your marriage, because we've known people to have a long time and it's not a cohesive thing. It's not a thing where it works for the both of them. And if it only works for one of y'all, it don't work for you guys as a couple.
We have friends, very successful marriage. So I'm not saying it's like they got a bad marriage or anything. Actually, absolutely love them. Successful marriage. But you remember we all had dinner, and they were talking about how when he comes home, he doesn't want to come straight in the house. She's a stay-at-home wife. She does like party planning things on the side, so I don't want to shortchange her. But he goes out into the world and works and comes home, and he'll sit in the driveway before he comes into the house. And I was livid. Okay?
She could not.
I could not understand it. Okay. I'm like, so you're trying to tell me she's in the house with these motherfucking kids all day. You get to speak to adults, and you come home and you're tired?
Yeah.
But it works for them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what matters. Like, it just works for them. But I do think that, and speaking about Eris and Jasmine, I do think that Jasmine is a bit insecure about the fact.
A bit is not even, and I don't
want to use insecure is a big word.
I think insecure is correct. And I think that this is a part of why she's on this show. I think every season we go through these moments where we're like, people show you very clearly why they're here. And this is hers. Like, she's very, even about the whole
39 and never been in love.
That thing, the whole sexual attention thing. Yeah. It's like she wants it, but then she doesn't want it, and it's just like,
well, women want people, not just women. People want to be desired.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think she can tell he may not desire her.
But it was before that even happened, when she told him to fall back. She tells him to fall back, he does, and then she's weird about that. Like, this was at your request.
True, huh?
You know what I mean? That to me,
at least that's how we saw that play out. That's true. But I think it's something to that. But I also think, like, the more, when you're in a new relationship, your alone time is together.
I think that, but I don't.
But I don't put the pressure that
honestly,
on people
I don't
to feel
think
that
a lot of people. I don't think there's many people who also feel that way, because I don't know that a lot of y'all really be out here liking y'all spouses.
I think that's a really big conversation.
You know what I mean? It's just I noticed
think more people than not, as we kind of navigate friends who have been married, separated, whatever the case may be, what's clear is that you just didn't like the person.
The person.
I
think a lot of y'all is in love and not in like at all.
No, I'm confused.
I think a lot of people love their spouse, but do not like their spouse.
Yeah.
And that's a video for another day.
Do you think it can be both, though?
There are a lot of layers to that. Huh?
Do you think it can be both? Like, I'm trying to clear up the words in my brain. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm repeating it so you can tell me what you think. Do you think that... I feel like you can love me and not like me, but you can't be in love with me and not like me. Because you are in love with something else. You're in love with the idea of who you want me to be versus who I actually am. And I think
that's what the issue is at the core of it. But I think they would describe it as being in love.
Oh, 1,000%.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, you're right. 1,000%. Yeah. But I think this all comes down to, and somebody, you guys were saying this on our TikTok, this really comes down to a lot of these conversations that these people are having in their group sessions, outside of their group sessions, is that y'all don't know how to like people just for who they are.
Yeah.
Just meeting somebody and accepting them wholeheartedly for who they are. You are, the truth of the matter is there's a percentage of people that you will not like, right? Mm-hmm. But if we just talk about the numbers, most people you come encounter with and you have long conversations with and everything like that, you will like. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You'll find some commonality, whatever the case may be. And the others, that small percent, you'll throw away, right? Mm-hmm. That's just the numbers.
Yeah.
I take issue with the idea that people want to be in a relationship and want to be accepted wholeheartedly, but don't want to give that same grace.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like there's a bigger issue here that needs to be attacked. Mm-hmm. And most of the time when we see it playing out, it's because it's just being washed over. Mm-hmm. And we're not really talking about the issues of, like, I think that's part of the issue that I have when I see people rushing to this love conversation. Do you love me? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Why won't he say it? Da-da-da-da-da. Like, y'all focus on the wrong stuff. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't even, again, talking about needing alone time. Y'all just met each other. Why do y'all need alone time already? That's a like thing. That's a lack of like to me. You understand?
But that's what I'm getting at, babe. That's exactly what I'm getting at. I just met you.
Why are we talking about alone?
Why are we talking about alone time? We just got to know each other.
That's not even normal to me. What's normal to and I think I told the story a while ago when two of our friends met, and we could say the name. This is a good story. Shout out to Deja and Jimmy. Mm-hmm. When they first met each other, they met each other at a party. If the party was Saturday, they were together every day until the following Saturday. Like I every time I talk to Jimmy, he like, I'm at Deja's house, or she at my house, or they was going somewhere. This was every day. You know why that was fine to me? Because they had just met.
Right.
They
wanted to be in each other's space.
Yeah, this is the honeymoon phase, right? Or what should be, right? So to me, what would have been weirder is if he would have said he met her on Saturday and on Tuesday he's like, I just need some alone time. Oh, that would have been like, whoa, you just like what? Y'all just met. Y'all don't live together. Why do you need alone time? You know what I mean? So I think they wanted to be together every day like that because they liked each other a lot. But
do you think if not them, not Deja and Jimmy, which love y'all, not them, but if you think Eris and Jasmine was hunching, he would still need alone time?
I don't think so, because I think that we're all adults and we can operate and compartmentalize in different spaces. I think they could be. I think there's a lack of like there, and I think sex doesn't change that. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. I think they could have been smacking the whole honeymoon, and when they landed back in Nashville, he'd have been like, "All right, gotta go."
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk about this crying ass Chris. This bothered me so deeply.
This was too much.
First of all, I'm tired of these goddamn dogs.
I'm tired of these dogs. This is the second season where we got to go through some drama over a damn dog.
I'm so tired.
Why are we doing this?
But my thing is, y'all paired them knowing how many dogs they had.
Absolutely. This was absolutely a production intention, and this was a built-in argument to me from production. There's no way. You can't.
They knew. They were sitting there like,
absolutely.
They knew.
Absolutely.
It's no way you pair a person with 2 dogs with a person who already got a dog.
You know that they have 2 dogs. You know that together they have 3 dogs, and you know that the contract that you signed with this apartment company
only allows 2.
But
let me ask you this straight up. You don't feel like him crying was manipulative?
I do feel like in the moment I kind of felt like if you wanted to, alternate dog sitting days, you should have just asked her, because this was weak to me. And I don't mean weak in a more masculine way. I mean, it was just weak.
Like if she did it, I would have thought it was whack.
It was weak.
You know what I mean? If she didn't, which I was proud of, she just was like, okay, we'll figure it out. But like for you to sit up there and cry.
Like your mother died, cry. It wasn't even like it wasn't even like a stressful cry. Like I thought literally somebody died, and I'm not BSing.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought his wasn't working.
Not with him crying like that. I thought
he wouldn't cry like that if his thing wasn't working.
I thought somebody passed away.
Yeah.
I thought it was serious. Like I thought it was serious. Like not like, oh, like my dog is sick. Like my mother died serious. There's levels to this. We get it. Y'all dog owners.
We get it. Y'all love your dog.
There are levels to this. It should be. If you're a normal person, it should be. Your mom dying shouldn't be on the same level as your dog. Can we all agree for that? So I felt like it was on that level of seriousness. And then when it just went to like, not only was the dog fine and not sick, and there was nothing wrong with the damn dog. The dog just couldn't come to the apartment, or like, come on.
It was manipulative. You sat up there and cried in this woman's face so that your dogs could stay together, and she would have to find a place for her dog. I ain't like it. And I hope she peeped it. And you know what was worse about this? And I had to learn this as well. You can't go back and ask your daddy for everything.
No.
Like my daddy will do anything for me. But
you're married.
Once you get you're in relationship, you're married. You can't be like, I need you to do
you're married. You married. The
moment you start that, the more and more he starts not respecting your spouse.
And not only that, but it sends the wrong message to your spouse.
Yeah.
It sends the wrong message to your family.
Yes.
It's just a mess all the way around. It doesn't help anybody. The people outside of
she's wrong though.
The people outside of your marriage start to feel more ownership over your marriage.
Yes.
It's like a mess. It's a mess.
The problem is that I don't necessarily feel like she's wrong, because he opened the door for this when he would not come to the table and problem solve because he was too busy babbling and crying. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? It's different when you with somebody and it's like, all right, we're gonna figure this out. Okay, you know what? Maybe I got an idea. Maybe I could just call my dad and do this, right? Maybe let's
talk about it.
But the fact that she didn't even have the opportunity to do that, she by herself had to go into problem solving mode, was the issue for me. And it was manipulative as hell.
And it also was one of those moments where it made me feel like this is why you're here, Chris. You're a nice guy and all that other but this passive aggressive stuff that you
passive aggressive.
That's why you're here.
1,000%, honey. I didn't like it though, and I thought she a better bitch than me. I'd be like, well, I don't know what you're gonna do. You sitting up here crying. You need to call somebody to get them dogs. Okay, right. God bless. I don't know. Ain't they sleep in the bed with their dogs?
But also, married at first sight. Just book an apartment building that allows multiple pets. This is an easy because the truth of the matter is neither one of them should be dealing with this, because in a normal world, they would just pick an apartment that allowed 3+ dogs or whatever, right? They're only moving into this apartment building because they're contractually obligated to. Yeah. So this is an obstacle that is set forth by the production. This is not a life obstacle. This is not a marriage obstacle. Like if me and her, if we're when we got married, if she had multiple kids or I had multiple kids when we got married and we went somewhere and they say it ain't no kids allowed, we would just not go to that place. Yeah. We wouldn't have to it's not like
I wouldn't
that's
have to
life.
cry.
Yeah, we wouldn't fight over, well, I guess the kids can't go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, you shouldn't, there's going to be enough obstacle. There's going to be enough drama to play out on TV for you to have to think, oh, let's go ahead and create more drama. You should have just went ahead and said, you know what, we're just going to let them stay at another place or something like that. Because it's really not their fault.
That's what I thought they were going to do. But they were like, no, y'all staying here with everybody else.
No, because we want the drama and we're going to film it.
All right. Talking about, I really don't want to talk about this human being. I find her to be abhorrent. And I don't know why I don't like Dominique. I do know why. I do know why.
She's a child. She's immature.
Not only should she not be a part of this process, because I do find her to be, not to say that there, okay, let me say this. You could be 25 and be mature. That's not what we're saying.
Well, she's not. You can be, but she's not.
You can be 1,000%. But the kind of mindset I think that this particular process takes, I don't know that any 25-year-old would necessarily would.
I absolutely agree. To me, there would be an age limit for casting.
I think it would be better if it was real grown people.
Yeah, there would be.
We don't even need this. Like,
I would never ever pair somebody
older. Because what, he 30? Is he 32 or 34?
Or something like that.
Yeah, so
I would never pair somebody 30 plus with a 25-year-old. Never. If I had a 25-year-old on the show, which I wouldn't do it, but if I had them, they would be paired with somebody way closer to their age.
So this is, and I'm gonna tell you why. Let's give good examples. One of the things Dominique said this episode so first thing, I don't know if you guys were paying attention at the round table. I don't even know if you picked this up, but y'all know I watched the episode twice. She says when Mac gives his his little spiel about the rating, he says, I recognize that maybe it's not funny to her, may not be funny in relationship, might just be funny to the guys. And he was like, but all in all, I still think we're like solid. I would give us a 7.5. She was like, I would agree with that. And then she says, good thing I taught them 12-year-olds. Y'all didn't pick that up, but I heard her. Good thing I taught them 12-year-olds last year. Like that, teaching 12-year-olds is why she got the patience to deal with men.
It just turns my stomach when I hear her talk. Because
one, you're trying too hard to be grown. When you grown, you just be grown.
She sounds very childish. That's what upsets me, because ironically, a lot of the things that she says comes off as very childish to me. But she thinks she's the adult.
She thinks, like when
that's
she said,
crazy to me.
The next thing that she said that really, I was like, this is a kid. A kid. She tells Mac that I want you to do things because you want to do them, not because I want you to do
Childish.
them. Are you stupid?
Childish.
Do you you would have to be a goddamn to me, it's like that's a sign to me that you've never been in a relationship.
Yes.
Because the truth of the matter is, all relationships is a friendly tug of war. You do a little for me, I'm gonna do a little for you. You scratch my back, I'm gonna scratch yours. Joe gigs all over the place. When he's local, he wants me to come to every single thing. Do I want to be at every single goddamn show? No. I could be at home having my alone time, watching motherfucking, you know what I mean, movies on Lifetime. Instead, I'm at a goddamn gig all night on my feet watching him play, right?
But imagine the stupidity and you coming to the gig and then me saying, I only want you to come to this gig because you want to come to this gig. How do we rectify that? Let me go back in the bathroom, close the door, get myself in the mirror and make myself want to come. Like, what do you mean? This is dumb.
And not to say I don't like to come, baby. I love to come. So that's
no. This is dumb. Like,
it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
It was such an immature thing to do, to say to someone, I want you to want to, like, what? Why can't he just want to show up for his wife? That's maturity.
That's what he literally said out his mouth was, I want you to know, and maybe I didn't get this point across properly. He even said that. I want you to know, maybe I didn't even get this point across properly, that I am doing these things not because I ever desired to do them, but now that we're together and you have this feeling that you want to experience these things, I also want to be a part of the experience with you.
I mean, the biggest lesson of marriage is, to me, from single life, is doing shit you don't want to do.
How much stuff you do that you don't want to do?
Let me tell you, in my single life, I did nothing that I didn't want to do. You understand what I'm saying? So like, this is almost the biggest trend. That's what I mean when I say she's not. I would have an age limit.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain amount of maturity that you get to, and you go, it doesn't matter what. It's not about what I want to do. It's about what needs to be done for the greater good.
Right.
That's immaturity to me.
Right.
For her to say something like that and to not have gotten to that place yet, because that's the heart of, like, that's called being a spouse.
That is called being a spouse. And not to say that you're going to hate everything.
No.
But when I mean Joe has to push me out of my comfort zone for so many things, he's used to being outside of his comfort zone, where I kind of live, talked about this in therapy too, I kind of live within the bounds of my safe space. You know what I mean? So there are a billion things that Joe has done or pushed me to do that has been simply I've only done because we did a balloon ride. I would have always went outside and looked at the balloons and wanted to do something like that, but I never would have done it. I would have never booked a balloon ride. That's not who I am. So when he said those things, I completely understood. Joe did that for my birthday, but he understood that he would have to put a little bit of effort in to making me go, right? Mm-hmm. Make me comfortable the whole time, whatever the case may be. But that didn't cost him nothing because he know his spouse. It's like sometimes you gotta give a little, and that's all a part of being in a relationship. That's maturity. That's maturity. There is no world where you're gonna meet an entirely different human being. I know the fun.
And they gonna want to do everything you want to. That's kid. That's childlike to me. That's childlike to me. And not to cut you off, but it burns me up because we see it a lot. We see it a lot, especially on this show. Even in the very beginning episodes where they're doing these castings and they're showing us, and people are like, they're just like me. I can't believe.
Oh, that's exactly where I was going, babe. That's exactly where I was going. I know y'all like to think that that's cool.
No.
Like, oh, we're just alike, so we're gonna be like, oh my God, it's gonna be great, whatever the case may be. But the truth of the matter is, at the deepest levels of who we are so different. Everybody, you know what I mean? Everybody, individuality is such a thing. It is okay to not be the same person as your spouse.
And I think the lack of maturity is what causes the thirst to find their twin.
Because you are of the belief, and this is your mother's fault, you are of the belief that you haven't sent. Your shit don't stink. So you want somebody just like you because you think so highly of yourself. When in truth, the people that come into your life who make the most, I personally feel like, who makes the most indelible impressions are completely opposite of you.
Yeah.
Because they show you who you could be.
Yeah, and I think if
that makes sense.
I think at the heart of it is the desire to not have to do any work to bend. Right?
Oh, she is terrible.
So I think that the most of it is coming from the place of not wanting to step into the level of maturity where you do stuff that you don't want to do.
I'm so tired of caping for men. It's not even funny. Like the fact that this man, Mac, even they go to his house, they see where he lives. She knew where he lives before they got there. He said where he lived.
Yeah, he did.
And the way that she politely, passive aggressively got him together bothered me so much. To me, and I've been there. I've dated somebody who didn't live in their parents' house but lived with somebody, and then they turned out to be somebody I didn't even expect. It was like, in a good way, I felt like, girl, shut up and just let's see what happens. You know what I mean? He ain't say he had terrible credit. He just said he moved and it wasn't a priority for him. He was comfortable. It wasn't a thing. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of times, and this is why it's sometimes hard to date interracially, we as black people don't understand that because we so often have to go get out, do what we got to do, figure it out. We are the first generation to generate the wealth or whatever the case may be. That when people are just at home or somebody provides them a safe space to be where they don't have to show up like we do in this capitalist structure, it's weird to us.
I think that this is really more so about her looking for more problems and more excuses.
It's not up for debate.
For when she bolts. I wouldn't even give it. I don't think she has the depth to even have the conflict on that level that what you're talking about. I think
you don't even think she there yet?
No, I don't. I think she's too shallow of a person to even think that deep.
But the scariest part is that she thinks she's deep.
That's the most annoying part.
That is the most fascinating thing to me.
I could tell that she's not, and I could tell that this is just more of her looking for other reasons when she sits in front of somebody and says, "I want to go home." But
I'm glad Max said his piece. Like when he said, she was like, "Well, I feel like I've just been a coach this whole time." Which, guess what, bitch? That's what you are in a relationship. Like,
what is she coaching?
But he said, I feel like you've been the exact opposite.
I do too. I feel like you're a child.
He said, this whole time you've been picking apart everything I do.
Yeah. What do you mean?
He can't laugh. He can't joke. He can't be serious. He cannot be serious.
That's her looking for
He can't live at home. He can't not live at home. It's just the most. Well, I thought even in this space, it's nothing for me to have any feelings about because none of this is you. This is somebody else's space.
She has a problem with his decoration.
Who taught her to be this way? It's almost creepy to me. But the truth of the matter is that there are a lot of women out there like that. And I'm not even, y'all know I'm gang. I'm all about the girls. But a lot of times, even people we know, be single because they like to pick everything apart.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That's
when some things, it's just like you just got to let it flow. Y'all don't listen to Tony Braxton? Like, Lord Jesus, y'all better get up on Secrets. It's just like, I just don't understand how y'all don't have these moments where you just want to be and see somebody for who they are as opposed to molding them to what you need them to be. I would just be trying to I'm gonna just play the background, just see who you are.
I think, especially in situations like these where that requires a level of grace that they're not going to ever give because they just simply don't like that person.
At all.
And I think that she's looking for more excuses. That's all. I think a lot of her issues, he jokes too much. He smiles too much. This is her not liking him. And
the nerve of you not to like him and your eyebrows are quite literally pencil sharpened on.
You got to just, and they'll be gone.
Did you see them eyebrows?
Yeah. Like you could blow on them.
You could take an eraser and just get them right out of here.
Yeah. That's a whole nother thing. It's like the thing that's frustrating about Dominique is that
she don't look like Kirsten. And I know that's but the truth of the matter is when you are a certain level of beautiful, smart, financially, you can say and do things that other people can't do. That's just the truth.
It feels like she is the opposite of everything that she thinks she is.
Oh, shit.
And that's what is so like.
It's not up for debate.
You got the attraction issue. You got the maturity issue.
But then gonna tell him, I can't have. I don't feel physically whatever unless I'm. Ain't this the same bitch that had a grown man taking shots out her titties?
Yes. This is more excuses for Dominique.
I find her to be terrible. I hope she's out of here sometime soon.
I do too.
And sometime soon. Free him and free us.
Yeah.
Free us. Because I'm tired. I'm tired of talking about kids doing grown people things that they should not be doing.
Yeah.
She still got work to do. And her mother dead wrong for thinking that she was... her mother is dead wrong for thinking that she is ready for this experience.
Her mom has to know that she's not.
The point of the matter is, we're done. If you have not already, do us a favor. Bust down. Subscribe to the Smeary Tatum channel. We'll see you beautiful mother jumpers later. Bye.